What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be having a look at the top 5 guns to use in hardcore game modes in Modern Warfare. Now this list is heavily based on the stats of the weapons themselves, and the main factors of a weapon that are most important for weapons in hardcore game modes are first off your one-shot kill range, second your aim down sight as well as sprint out times. You do need to be able to come out of sprint and snap onto target quickly, that's very important in hardcore. And finally, and slightly less important, your rate of fire. How fast do you get that follow-up shot if you happen to miss the first shot or if you end up in a 2-shot kill range. Now I do want to start this off by saying that almost every gun is perfectly viable in hardcore modes, unlike core modes for instance. However, we are going to be focusing on the ones that have the absolute best combination of these stats that I talked about. So starting it off with number 5, we have the Scar. Now one of the main reasons the Scar made this list is it's a one-shot kill at all ranges. It's never going to drop off to a 2-shot kill unless you're shooting through some form of cover, of course. But that right there immediately makes this a solid choice for hardcore. However, I will say there is one big downside with the Scar, and this is its aim down sight time. It's one of the slowest in the assault rifle category, and this can often screw you over in hardcore modes. You can't snap on a target and react to people quite as fast as some of the other guns that are on this list. Moving on to number 4, this is the Aug. Now the Aug has a somewhat decent one-shot kill potential for SMGs at least. Of course, you still want to try and keep yourself up close and personal, otherwise you will drop off to the 2-shot kill range. But you can help that a little bit with some of the barrel attachments, and this has several barrel attachments to choose from. On top of this, you get an excellent sprint out time and a great aim down sight time, so you can snap onto target very quickly. So for aggressive players, you're generally going to be beating out assault rifles up close unless they're already pre-aimed. And we also get a pretty solid rate of fire, which means even if you are in the 2-shot kill range, you can often get those 2 shots off before an assault rifle can aim down sight and get their 1 shot off. As a result, the Aug is an excellent choice. Although one thing I will mention here is a lot of people might be tempted to use the assault rifle conversion kit for the Aug, and I wanted to point out that while that does help all of your other ranges in core game modes, this has no impact on your hardcore ranges, and therefore you're just making the gun worse for you for this mode. So stay away from the 5.56 conversion kit if you're using the Augen hardcore, and you should be just fine. This brings us to the next one on my list, and this is the FR5.56, which is a 3-round burst. However, in hardcore game modes, I personally find it's best to switch this into semi-auto mode. Now the reason this one made the list is, once again, it is a one-shot kill at all ranges. And on top of that, we do get slightly better handling than the Scar, and if you've got a good trigger finger, you can get those follow-up shots off very, very quickly and accurately. Now you might be wondering why I like it in the semi-auto mode rather than the burst mode for hardcore game modes, and this is pretty simple. You only need 1 bullet to kill, so firing the whole burst and then having to wait for a burst delay can often get you killed if you run into multiple enemies, whereas with semi-auto, you can just spam away and you're not locked into those bursts, and you can take out multiple enemies a lot more effectively like this. This is especially good for the people that really don't like using the FR5.56 in core game modes. If you're thinking about grinding to unlock attachments for your FR and you don't like that burst mode, hop into hardcore, swap it to semi-auto, and you should have an easy time with it. So after that, the runner-up for the best hardcore gun to use, in my opinion, this is the PP19 Bizon. Now the reason for this is, once again, it's got a pretty decent one-hit kill range for SMGs. It's slightly better than the Aug, plus you can improve that with the steel or polygonal barrel. On top of that, you get a slightly better aim down sight time compared to the Aug. You've still got a pretty solid rate of fire, so that follow-up shot is coming up pretty quickly for those 2-shot kill situations. It's also very accurate and has an insane magazine capacity, so you should basically just never have to reload this thing. And when you combine all of that together, this makes this one of the best aggressive guns to use in hardcore. Now before we get into the number 1 spot for the best gun in hardcore game modes, I do have an honorable mention that I wanted to toss in here, and this is the Uzi. Now the Uzi is very similar to the PP19. It's got almost identical stats, however it does have a slightly slower rate of fire, so it's not quite as good as a Bizon in that area, and it also has a longer sprint out time. So that's why this didn't necessarily make the list, but I did want to mention that it's not a terrible choice for hardcore game modes. So with that, this finally leaves us with the number 1 spot for the best gun to use in hardcore, and this is the AK-47. This gun is a one-shot kill at all ranges. It's got decent handling stats, so aim down sight and sprint out time are much better than the Scar and a little bit better than the FR5.56 for instance. And on top of that, we've got a solid enough rate of fire that if you end up in a situation where you miss the first shot, you've still got a pretty good chance at winning the gunfight with your second bullet hitting them. So in all, when you look at the combination of all of the important stats for hardcore modes, the AK-47 just simply comes out on top, in my opinion. But of course, that's just my list, and those are my opinions. I'd like to know in the comment section below, are there any guns that you think deserve a spot on this list that I missed? And if so, why would you include that on this particular list? Just let me know those thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.